Hey everyone. I'm hoping I have everything under control. I've done 3 videos now. The first one was about 5 minutes. Realized I had the headphone mic on, and the headphone, of course, were off, so it was getting no sound. So we're gonna try this again. Welcome everybody to Glowing Card Gaming. My name, again, your host is Adam. Um, I've had phone messages come in and sounds and all of that. We're done with it. Now we're gonna talk about the World Series, the Texas Rangers winning the World Series. Congratulations to those guys, first World Series ever. So now it's what the Devil Rays, Tampa Bay Devil Rays, Colorado Rockies, the San Diego Padres, and one other team who was never won, and I can't remember the other team. But that got me to thinking. I have been saying for a while now that the Colorado Rockies are the only team not to have ever won their division. So I started to think, well, is that really true? The Rockies are the only ones never to have won their division? Oh yeah, Seattle Mariners. They've never even had an appearance in the World Series. Ha! Almost forgot. Though the Seattle Mariners have won their division a couple of times, and handily. I think it was 94 or 95. They had 116 wins, and I always am leery. And they're the team that really made me watch teams that have over 100 wins, because those teams, I'm not sure what it is. If they're just beating up the other teams in their division, weren't very good, or what it is. But the Seattle Mariners back then, 116 wins, get swept immediately right out of the playoffs. Do not advance. Go. Do not collect $200. Gone. Done. Out. So I was looking up teams that have never won their division. Of course, the Colorado Rockies. Though in 2018 they finished one game back. So they almost won it. And that was the year they actually won the play-in game and advanced, and then lost to the Brewers in 5 in 2018. In 2009, they were 3 games back, so they were kind of close there. 2007, they had that play-in game. So they technically were half a game back at the end of 2007 when they went to the World Series, and they got swept by Boston. That was an interesting one because they won 21 out of the last 22 games. And I have an interesting story about myself about that, because the day that streak started, I was looking at the standings and looking at everything, and I was like, the Rockies probably not going to make the playoffs. And I literally said out loud to myself, they have to win out to make the playoffs. They can't lose another game moving forward. And then I thought about it. I'm like, somebody's going to drop a game or two here or there. I bet they could lose one and still have a shot to make it. And that's exactly what happened. They lost one more game after that. And they managed to get in to the World Series that year. Didn't win their division, but made it to the World Series. So that's the closest really they've ever gotten, those 3 seasons. and that's since 1993. I mean, we're looking at 30 years of mediocrity. But it made me think, who else, if anyone, has never won their division, or what that would look like? And there were a couple teams that I really had to go back to the late 90s before I found they won their division. Um, and actually, when I was doing a search, I found out that the Miami slash Florida Marlins have never won their division, not one time. Which, if you remember, the Miami Marlins and the Colorado Rockies are sister expansion teams, basically. So they came into the league same time. Neither one of them have won their division. But the Miami Marlins have 2 World Series rings. Rockies got zip. Oh. Because they're not well run. I give all the respect, and if I need to apologize to the team, the coaches, I do that because they are definitely good players, good teams. Um, they did and were able to play well at certain times. The Blake Street Bombers, um, you know, there are certain times the Rockies have been good, and by good I mean better than normal. Not great. They've never been great. But if you look at the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Diamondbacks came into the league later and have won a World Series and won the division and competed better. And they are very similar in terms of ballparks and pitching and stuff like that. But they were able to bring in Randy Johnson, and Randy Johnson was able to pitch like a maniac there in Arizona. Now, granted, they are a little bit lower elevations. They are the second most friendly hitter's ballpark, however you want to say it, in the nation. So, if they can do it, Colorado can do it. I really believe that. And they could be competitive, but the owners they don't want a baseball team. They don't. They never really have. What the owners really do want is a bar. A big bar. I think they want the biggest bar in America, and they might have it with Coors Field. I don't know. They have a big old rooftop bar up there. That's why everybody goes to the game. That and to see the opposing teams come in and play. Because every time I've been, or at least most of the times I've been, except when the Rockies have really been in contention, it's like a home away game for whoever. Philly, New York, Cincinnati, Detroit. You name the team, usually they have more fans there than the Rockies do. Now, even when the Rockies are in contention, it seems like it's 50-50 with fans, especially within the division. Like, the Rockies are in contention. They're playing Arizona. You have a lot of Arizona fans that show up to those games. A lot of Dodger fans. A lot of Giant fans. A lot of San Diego fans. It's like 50-50. It's really strange to see. It's like the Rockies only exist because the league wants to have a ballpark that is away friendly to any team. You got it. It's the Rockies. It's strange because like the NFL came in and the Denver Broncos weren't being well run or managed, or the ownership was kind of split and they couldn't figure out who really owned the team, and they didn't have a great product on the field. So the NFL came in and said, "Hey, we're taking the franchise back, and we're going to go ahead and sell it to somebody else. I almost think that the Major League Baseball, the league itself, should come in and take the ownership away from the Monfords and sell it to somebody who actually wants a baseball team, and can make that ownership happen in terms of getting good pitching, good and not just one or two good bats. You know, like we've had teams where we've had Blackman, Arenado, Story, all on the team at the same time, and we even had John Gray, who pitched well, who actually just won his first World Series. Congratulations, John Gray. Pitching for the Texas Rangers. Traded him there. Got nothing for him. It's really strange to see how many times the Rockies have traded players off, and I would say over 90% of the time they go on to teams that actually compete and win World Series. Just can't do it here for whatever reason. It's a little frustrating. So, Arizona has the humidor and, levels the playing field for pitching and stuff. If Arizona can do that and be competitive, and they have a World Series, and they won the division, Colorado absolutely should be able to do that. And on the other side of it, no matter what angle you look at it, the Rockies should have won their division at least once, but really 3 or 4 times by now, at the very minimum. I think they probably should have won the division realistically 6 to 7 times by now if they would have been competitive, and the owners would have been willing to spend money, make trades, make deals, make the team better. So, nothing against the players or the coaches. I really, I like the current manager, Bud Black. He's a great pitching coach. Too bad he can't get the pitching talent in here, because I think if he got 2 or 3 good starting pitchers, and even a good closer and a good middle reliever, I think realistically, with some decent other starters and middle relievers and closers, I think this team really could be competitive. They could hit the playoffs and win their division, and not have to play a stupid play-in wild card game, which they seem to lose all the time. It's one game. Whoopee-doo. I think they actually made that a 3-game stint this time, but everybody won it in 2. So there's that. So I'm not trying to really complain about the Rockies, although it's very difficult not to when you see day in and day out what happens with that team. But I kind of just wanted to point out, hey, the Rockies aren't the only ones that have never won their division. The Florida / Miami Marlins have never done it. One other point of note, or one other thing to mention, is the Pittsburgh Pirates have not won their division since 1992, the year before the Rockies have come in. So they also have a drought that is similar to the Rockies and the Marlins divisional wins. They haven't won a World Series in that time either. So, anything bad you want to say about the Rockies could also be said probably about the Pirates. And when I looked at the teams overall, with a few years that are kind of the exception for the Seattle Mariners, they really resemble the Rockies too, but they're at like sea level. So I'm not sure what's going on there. And you want to talk about bad ownership. I mean, the worst owner, and I think everybody's that's based in baseball fandom knows that the Oakland Athletics are the worst team in baseball right now, bar none. They are truly awful. And the Kansas City Royals, who I think I think they won the series like 5 years ago, maybe a little longer than that. I think it might be 2015 now, so 8 years. Um, but what a hard 8 years that's been, because they are worse than the Rockies right now. Those two teams are the worst teams in the league. But Rockies are right there with them. I mean, and if you want to pile on and add a fourth team, it would probably be um, the Chicago White Sox. 61 wins, I think. So this still, all four of those teams had 100 losses this year, and are just awful. Now, if I had to rank the teams, top 4 or 5 teams, bottom 4 teams. And I just saw somebody do something on ESPN where they took the bottom 4 teams. I honestly don't know how they put the Oakland Athletics at 27 out of 30. Absolutely, positively should have been 30 out of 30. I do agree with their assessment of the Chicago White Sox, who they had as dead last, and then the Rockies at 29. Yeah. So, I would put, out of those 3 teams, I would put the Rockies ahead of those two. And I would even put the Rockies ahead of the Royals. Even coming up on this next year. We'll see what moves everyone makes in the offseason. I'll do another thing where I say who I think is going to win their divisions and what the I won't say what the overall. I'm not going to say that the Rockies are going to be 60 and 102 or something like that, but I will say what order in the division everybody should place. And now that I know that the new rules favor pitching over hitting, I'll make some adjustments and try to make that a little more accurate this year. Again, the AL East is probably going to be the most difficult division to do that with, because all of those teams are great. And I can't see that changing all too much. There might be one team in the AL East that falters, can't quite put the pieces together, and then takes a nosedive and gets last in the division. But we'll take a look at that come March, right before this season starts, and we'll look at all the trades and stuff. I'll do some analyzation of those teams, the trades, and what went on, and then we'll make some adjustments and try and guess where everybody's going to finish. This year I didn't do too bad. I'd say about 50%. Me and flip a coin, I guess. So we'll try and be a little bit more accurate. We'll see what happens next year. But again, congratulations to the Texas Rangers. So now there are only 5 teams that have never won a World Series instead of 6. Congratulations, guys. And again, Rockies are not the only team to have never won a division. That's the Marlins. And the Pirates haven't won since 1992. So there is that. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. I hope everybody has had a good last few days, and I'm gonna have another video here. The next one will be about the Broncos. So I hope everybody enjoys that. Until next time, thank you, everybody. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, get the word out about this channel, and hit that notification button so you know when I'm live. streaming Baldur's Gate and some other games coming up, and you'll also know when I post new videos. Usually the posts are about sports, and the live stream is the video games, and that comes off the PS5 as always. So it's just really easy to get the mic connected and just stream it right out there, even though there's no camera with that. So we'll keep that going, and hopefully we'll get more and more views. Have currently the second most views I've ever had, just over 200. So the channel's getting some recognition. It's good. But I only have 28 subscribers, so be sure to hit that subscribe and notification button and share that out. Oh, one other thing. If you have comments, if you want to see different content, I can always do reaction videos to everybody's kind of doing horror, but you know, I'm more of a humor kind of guy. We can do some fail army or something like that, some news bloopers, some old school television bloopers like Dick Clark's TV's bloopers, practical jokes. Leave some comments for some content you want to see, and I'll react to. I see John Boy and I can't remember, John Boy and Jake, I think is the channel name. They've been watching some classic TV, and they're okay at it. They watch Guts, and I like how they like draft the players, the kids, and they root for who they draft and think will win. But there's sometimes they don't. I mean, I have way more knowledge. I've watched way more TV than probably almost anybody on the planet, and I know generally it's not good for me. They were watching Password Plus, and I can't offhand. I don't know the host's name, but they did refer to the host. But neither of the guys knew that was the guy's name, so I was like, "That's the host," and I bet they didn't know the host of Password was Betty White's husband. She married that guy, and they were married, I think, 20, 25 years or something until he passed. And she never remarried. It was back then they had the love of their life. And once that person died, that was it. They never remarried. So if you want more content like that, let me know. Leave comments. If you like, the sports commentary, if you have something you disagree with me about, go ahead and leave a comment on that. Yeah, just do all that stuff, and we'll see you next time with some Broncos talk. I'll see you then. Till then, everyone, be good to each other.